It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Katafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today, whether you're watching or listening. Janine Trevelyan from the Sedona Heritage Museum is back with us. Welcome back. It's always great to have you in here.
Thank you.
I always learn so much, and there's always so many great things going on at the museum in Sedona. So today, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes.
You have a new, what do we call it?
Permanent exhibit.
A permanent exhibit. I was going to say display, but it's a permanent exhibit. It's going to be there, and when we saw it, it was like, well, that's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be?
Well, the museum opened 21 years ago, and we've had kind of the same exhibit themes for all those years, and we've added a few new exhibits on the outside, in the outside buildings and things where they become new permanent exhibits where you can always go to learn about a new theme, like the wine theme we opened 3 years ago and some of those things. But this building, having exhibit inside in a historic house has some challenges. So we finally rearranged some things, made room for one of our permanent exhibits to move to a different and better location, and it freed up a space where we could put in a new permanent exhibit. And what's an exhibit that's really not represented in Sedona anywhere, but is really an important story and theme in our history, is the whole arts community theme. And how did Sedona start as an arts destination? How does it continue as an arts destination? Who are the people and institutions and organizations that have contributed to Sedona being known as a major arts destination and arts community? And so now we've done temporary exhibits about those where we put them up for a few months and take them back down. But now we have a permanent exhibit where people who are interested in our arts history as a community can come and learn about all those people and organizations, as I said, and see their work.
How do you decide to do this sort of an exhibit? Who comes up with that idea? Because it's a great idea. Because Sedona it's an art area that people go to Sedona for either to create art or go to see art. And the whole place is artful, even the scenery around you. But how do you decide to do something like that?
Well, we do have an exhibits committee and we do have an active board. And you never know when we're doing long-range planning, and we do planning every 3 to 5 years. We'll have a planning session, and somebody will bring up this idea of, well, isn't this an important theme, or this is a relevant theme based on what's going on today. And with the whole growth of tourism too, we've had some people who came up and said, but how do we tell the art story? And then the question becomes, where do we tell the art story? Because we have limited space. And how do we fund creating a new exhibit? Because that's the next part of it. And what do we have? What do we already own? And we are lucky enough to have some exhibit or some works of art from some of the artists that we've chosen. And then, bless them, we were able to create some relationships with some of the artists in the area and their families, and be able to get additional pieces to come to the museum that now can be in public view. We were talking, one of the things, for example, one of the reasons when we started talking about having an arts-themed exhibit was there's not really a place in Sedona where you can go to see a collection of cowboy artists of America or Joe Beeler's work. Okay. And here Joe was here from the 1960s until he passed away, 2006, and is one of the founders of the Cowboy Artists of America. And the public cannot go see a piece of Joe Beeler artwork in the public realm anywhere. It's all on private property.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
That was one of our missions, was how do we get this kind of behind the scenes and bring this forward and put it in a place where the public actually can go.
And you were telling me before the show that this is gonna cover art. I never really think of photographs being art, but of course they are. But this is going to go back to photography, when photography first came on the scene. And
the whole arts theme, this art story that we try to tell in this room is really the whole beauty and the myths and mystic of the southwestern United States. When the rest of America discovered it through photography, that really made a difference in what happened in the Southwest, especially in northern Arizona with the whole photos that came back of the Grand Canyon and unusual places in the Southwest. So those photographers, they were not only documenting, but many of those works either are art or were used for paint by painters and people who never came to the West but painted the West.
They were almost like the start of the Chamber of Commerce, almost, if you think about it, because if John Smith takes a picture of the Grand Canyon and then he ships it back east and people see it all the way back and, we should go out there and go take a look at that. So then they come out here and now they're...
There you go.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy, huh? Yeah. It's amazing.
And then when Hollywood came to Sedona, they brought still photographers with them to document a lot of what they were doing and to take pictures of locations and things like that. Well, those people, they are creative at heart, so they took a lot of beautiful pictures. And so those original photographers who came because of Hollywood, a couple of them actually moved back here and continued to take photographs and start businesses here. And so, that whole photography of being a record, but then moving into the art realm. And once you have, again, it's the Chamber of Commerce concept, that's getting into the hands of people like Max Ernst and famous world-renowned artists who said, I think we'll go there. Let's go there and see what that's all about.
I bet that place will inspire me.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So just, that's how it happens, right? We start moving around the country. We still do it today. I mean, you see a picture, like I was telling you, we took a cruise to the Bahamas. It's like, well, I see pictures of that turquoise water. I want to go see it.
We should go see that.
And we go see it. But
Is
a picture,
really that blue?
It is that blue. And the pictures actually is what draws you in to get you going. So, yeah.
That's right.
So you mentioned Joe Beeler. Can we go back to Joe Beeler?
Yes.
Because it's a neat story that you've got written down on here. Tell us a little bit about Joe Beeler and how this all came about.
Yeah, so Joe Beeler is an interesting person from Oklahoma. Started out, knew he was an artistic kid, actually from, nowhere and having nothing, actually got into art school and was able to get himself through art school and started to make a living as an illustrator. But then he moved into fine art and he found an actual following. But again, somewhere along the line, he figured out that Sedona was where he and his wife wanted to move and raise their children. So they moved here in the early 60s. And he was truly inspired not only by the beauty, but he really wanted to be, he really liked Western art, and he wanted to always be a cowboy. So when he got to Sedona in the 1960s, we're still a cow town. Cows are still running up and down Main Street and on the main highway. There were still multiple cattle guards in town to keep cows out of the new subdivisions that were being built. So he really found himself in a small town America in the West where he could be a cowboy and he could learn about the cowboy arts. And when he learned about what it was like to be a cowboy, then he wanted to record it in the medium he used, which was paint and eventually bronze work and sculpture work. And then in 1965, even though he'd only been here about 3 years, he made a relationship with the new Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma was about to open. And he pursued them, and they invited him to be in the very first art show in the Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma. At the same time, he had all these buddies who were in the area, some artists from Prescott and Phoenix, and they were all lamenting that, this modern art, it's taken over. What is going to happen to traditional Western art? We feel like we're going to lose it. What should we do about that? And so over beers one evening at the Oak Creek Tavern on Main Street in Uptown Sedona in 1965, they hoisted a few and they said, by golly, we're going to establish the Cowboy Artists of America, and we're going to celebrate Western art, traditional Western art. We're going to encourage artists to do that kind of art. We're going to try and find buyers. We're going to help them find buyers so they can make a living doing this. We're going to encourage galleries. We're going to do training, arts exhibitions, appreciation. And then they also, once they got a little more organized, they decided we're going to get all these people who share this love and skill and talent, and we're going to go on roundups together so that we can see actual cowboys, be on horses, see what the twilight's like, see what campfires are like, see what branding's like.
This is the next stage, though, yes. and I saw this. So let's take our first break, and then we come back. We'll talk about how they do these big group camp out things that they go on, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Janine Trevelyan's in studio from the Sedona Heritage Museum. The website is sedonamuseum.org. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Breakthrough Medicine's Dr. Shada Sina offers comprehensive hormone testing and customized hormone therapy with a focus on lifestyle medicine, weight loss, allergy drops, brain and digestive health, seasonal detox, and nutrition. Dr. Sina is a referral physician for Suzanne Summers, specializing in bioidentical hormones for men and women. Breakthrough Medicine is located in Cottonwood's Hot Yoga Plaza. Call for a 15-minute complimentary new patient consultation, 928-649-0269, or visit online at breakthrough-medicine.com.
From inspiration to installation.
If you need help with your decorating plan, call the pros at the Picture Window. We are your #1 source for top quality blinds, shades, shutters, and flooring. We've been in business here for 41 years, and our delightful sales staff has decades of experience. We're the locally awarded Best of the Best in both Sedona and the Verde Valley.
Don't pass up a free estimate on your project. Call the Picture Window now.
Paul Stanley here with Stanley Steel Structures. We offer shade structures that provide style, value, and performance. Our Equinox louvered roof opens and closes to give you the ultimate patio experience. We also offer Alumawood shade covers that looks like wood but lasts like steel and never needs painting or maintenance. Visit us at StanleySteelStructures.com. Contact us today and be covered tomorrow. Stanley Steel Structures. Let us add some space to your place.
Feng Shui artistry, the oldest form of development planning, today known as the art of placement. For 26 years, master Feng Shui educator, practitioner, artist, and author Caroline Patrick Bournet has used ancient rules of environmental, physical, and spiritual harmony to support clients' health, knowledge, creativity, and success. In mapping your home, you'll understand yourself. Better living is the gift of a lifetime. Change your life one room at a time. Schedule your Home Therapy 101 consultation today.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're sitting down with Sedona Heritage Museum's Janine Trevelyan. SedonaMuseum.org is the website. I want to read a line real quick that Janine sent me. Joe passed away. We're talking about Joe Beeler, which was in 2006. Joe passed away from a heart attack while dragging calves to the branding fire on a ranch near Sedona. No cowboy could ask for a better way to go than being on a horseback with his boots on, doing what he loved. And just before we took the break, you were talking about how these guys got together and decided, you know what, to better know what it is we're doing for art, we should see what it looks like. And so, yeah, continue your story.
Well, they got a lot of inspiration from that. And then when you see a collection of Joe's artwork, you see the very dramatic and hard life of a cowboy and a rancher, but then he has a lot of art that's very whimsical, because there's some funny things that happen when you're working with cows and horses and other cowboys. And so, but how do you have that experience and that insight versus, you know, those Eastern artists from 150 years ago who just painted what they thought the West looked like and what they thought Indians were like and they thought cowboys were like. But Joe and his peers in the Cowboy Artists of America, they actually wanted to at least live part of that cowboy lifestyle so that they could be more authentic.
And we see that today. I mean, there's not a single actor I haven't seen from a movie that didn't say, yeah, I went and researched this role by talking to this person, or we went to this area to see this, to see what it looks like, so we could represent it perfectly. So, yeah, it goes on.
Yeah. So I give a lot of credit to Joe. He was able to find, in living in Sedona, hopefully, and I think his family would say that he really found what he was looking for in terms of being able to have one foot in the cowboy life and one foot in the professional art world. And he was able to find that here. And the whole fact that he passed away when he was helping friends, actually being a cowboy. And he was a big roper, and he was a team roper, and did a lot of competitive team roping. And he'd get together with a group of friends in the Verde Valley area, and they would just rope every night, once a week, and go out roping. And he was a skilled technician too, if you will.
Yeah, he knew
his art and skilled in cowboy.
He could do the job.
He could do it.
That's amazing. It's not. I can't imagine it was a very easy job. You probably didn't get paid much.
Well, yeah. Who was buying Western art? In the 1960s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
It was transitioning to a different kind of an art world and a different sensibility and what was popular and probably what was showing up in magazines and things like that. And the Western movie, where you were talking about movies, the Western movie was dying as a genre in the early 60s. By probably 65 or 60-something, you didn't see Western movies hitting the theaters anymore. So the Cowboy Artists of America were kind of fighting an uphill battle to preserve a record of the lifestyle, preserve an appreciation of the lifestyle, and preserve a market and appreciation for that art style too.
Good thing they did.
Yeah.
How big's the exhibit? And is it open yet?
The exhibit is open. We opened in November. And we just got in another new case, though, so that we could do things a little better. It's one of those things where, as a small organization, we launched it and then we realized, no, okay, we can tweak and we can do this a little better.
Well, that goes with everything.
We just got a new case in last week where we've reorganized things just a little bit. So it is open now. When people come to the museum to tour, it's going to be part of what they see as a part of their basic museum tour.
And Joe Beeler's, a piece of his artwork is there. Because you said he did painting, but he also did bronze.
He also did bronze. He transitioned into sculpture as he went on. And we've developed this wonderful relationship with Jody Beeler, his son, and Jody's wife, Monica. And they have loaned us some artwork. And we recently, at the museum, received a gift from a gentleman who'd lived in Sedona a long, long time and knew Joe, passed away. And he gave us a donation, gave us a small bas-relief that Joe had created for Eddie Basha.
A what?
It's a little bas-relief. It's a little medallion. It's flat on the back, but it's three-dimensional on the front. So it's one of his cast pieces, but it's a small piece, and it's not three-dimensional, just the front side.
And he made that for Eddie Basha.
And he made it for Eddie Basha. Eddie Basha, has that wonderful Western art collection in his own private museum at the Basha's corporate center. Eddie Basha was a big fan of Western art and a big supporter of Cowboy Artists of America, and became personal friends with Joe Beeler. They called each other brothers. They were on the same wavelength.
I can hear Eddie Basha in my head doing commercials for grocery stores. I can hear him still.
Yep. But he just loved Joe, and they loved each other and had a great time. And somewhere along the line, Eddie commissioned Joe to create a new medallion, bronze medallion, every year for Christmas. And then Eddie would send these out to his good friends. So there's collections of these wonderful little medallions out there in the world. And on the back it says, "From Eddie Basha."
Oh, no kidding.
Because Joe was making them.
Created by?
Yes.
Oh,
and
wow.
Joe Beeler on the front.
What's the oldest piece of historical documentation, picture, piece that you actually have at the museum? How far does it take us back?
Not necessarily artwork.
Not necessarily artwork, just like what is there's like a big treasure for the museum? Say, oh, I can't believe we've got one of these, and it actually proved it was here in Sedona.
Right off the top of my head, the one thing I can think of that every time I look at it, I'm just shocked and amazed this is here, is in the 1860s. One of the pioneer families was coming across the United States and eventually ended up here, and they had a small daughter, and she has a little wooden kid's chair, that's not even 2 feet high, with a rush bottom seat. And that little chair, out of all the treasures and important things they could have brought across the country in a covered wagon, which didn't have much space, this little chair survived all the way across country with this little girl, who ended up moving here as an older girl in her teens, marrying, raising children here in the 1870s. So I think that item from the 1860s is probably the oldest item.
And that chair is still sitting there today.
Still sitting there.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
When I got there, we all thought it was a toy chair, or something like that. And then I found the story one day.
We were smaller back then.
And I went, oh, don't touch it.
Every time you come here, you've got one of those things where you're like, ooh, look what I found. Yeah. Janine Trevelyan is in studio today with Sedona Heritage Museum. It's in uptown Sedona, real easy to find. SedonaMuseum.org. Stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Start your journey toward better health with Ageless Touches Massage Therapy. Licensed massage therapist Richard Stevens uses the latest and best equipment to relieve scar tissue, electronic smog, and tinnitus. Ageless Touches does everything they can to work your issues down to the bone. Improve your path to better health with Ageless Touches Massage.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Hi, this is Lori and Melissa from Sedona Soul Spaces. We are the premier source for all your interior design, decorating, and staging needs.
Every day people ask, why didn't I call you sooner?
Let us use our passion, creativity, and experience to make your life easier.
Don't make costly mistakes. Call us and we will help save you time and money.
We offer full-service interior design, custom furnishings,
Complete home staging, turnkey vacation home packages.
Sedona Soul Spaces, creating extraordinary spaces that delight your soul.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program with Janine Trevelyan from Sedona Heritage Museum. Again, the website is sedonamuseum.org. You sent us a press release, I want to say almost a month ago. You've got tickets going up for sale. And the tickets, I imagine the sales benefit the museum.
Yes.
But you've got a really neat little thing going to go on in Oak Creek Canyon.
Well, this is, I think, the 10th year of us offering historic tours of historic places around Sedona. And in the spring, near Easter, we go to Oak Creek Canyon, and in the fall, we go out the Red Rock Loop area and we visit historic places. So April's coming up. Tickets are for sale to go on the Oak Creek Canyon Historic History Roundup tours. What we have is a very special thing. Paul Thompson is our tour guide. He is the grandson of J.J. Thompson, the first Anglo settler in Oak Creek Canyon. So this is how close we are to our history in Sedona. So Paul knew his grandma, who was married to JJ, even though JJ passed before Paul was born. So he sat at the feet of all these pioneers and his parents and heard their original stories of what it was like. Paul also was born in the area, and he lived his first 10 years of life in the Red Rock area and his second 10 years of life in Indian Gardens on a piece of the old Thompson property. He worked for the Pendleys at Slide Rock. He worked for the Jordans. He worked for a lot of different people in the area. He knew the movie people that came to town. He knew the business people and all the old farmers and orchardists and cattle people. So he tells, when you go on a tour with Paul Thompson and he tells a story about something that happened here or whoever built that building, you're getting a first-hand story. He was there, he saw it.
Right.
He knew these people.
How awesome is that?
It is. I
Right.
mean, he gives a phenomenal tour. He's a retired national park ranger, so he knows what interpretation is. He knows what makes a good story. He's just a great storyteller.
And this is going on April 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. It's 2 to 5 each day. Yeah. And is there a limit to how many tickets you're selling?
We're very small. We only have 4 days, and the bus only holds 13 people each day. So we always sell out. Sell out early. So I encourage anybody who's thought about this is the year to go. Who knows, this might be Paul's last year. He's 85. He said last year he didn't think he was going to make it, and he came back for every tour. Now this year, so far he says, I just want to keep doing it if I can. And you would never know it. He gives a great tour. He's sharp. And he remembers this stuff. How do people remember these little stories and nuances?
They must have quite of an impact on him when he was a child,
Yeah.
sitting there listening to them and just,
Well, people rave about the tours, so I encourage people to join us. Call the museum, 282-7038. You can buy a ticket over the phone, and we will hold it for you. And
282-7038.
7038, and that's how they can call and get a ticket, because there aren't that many.
Okay. That's too bad.
I know.
Well, I don't know.
You can only do it
Right.
so often.
I think we covered everything.
Okay, great.
Not everything, of course. The museum has leaps and bounds. All kinds of great stuff to see in there.
And we're working on another new permanent exhibit.
Mm-hmm. So
the next one will be about water and irrigation. So we'll have news about that later in the year.
Oh my gosh, I know where that's going to go. I know that irrigation pipe in Oak Creek Canyon. It's amazing. Janine, it's just great to have you in. I love having you in. Sedona Heritage Museum, Janine Trevelyan. Website again is sedonamuseum.org. That phone number one more time, 282-7038. This is Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.